Hetepu, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste Haru Nefer, and Netradak. This is Kasak Ma Keparu with another video for you. And in this video, I want to talk about the ruling elite's genetic engineering plan. But before I do that, I'd like you to hit the like button on this video. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome. Hit the subscribe button to get notifications on when I go live and when I upload recorded videos. Also, we do have free ebooks for you if you're looking to take your knowledge of the esoteric and your knowledge of the occult to the next level. You can just merely scroll down below and click on a link and download the ebook today. Again, it's totally free, and start reading up on my teachings. Also, if you're not already a supporter of ours on Patreon, please consider doing so. As a supporter, you get access to exclusive content, exclusive videos on Qigong, how to invoke spirits, how to communicate with the ancestors, how to do divination, work with the oracles, self-hypnosis videos to remove stress and anxiety. And again, you can cancel at any time. So support us on Patreon. And last but not least, share this video with family and friends so we can get this revolution started. I want you to know that YouTube is engaging in shadow banning channels that talk about COVID-19 and talk about the controversial subjects. So although I should have more subs than I do now, I understand that it's because YouTube doesn't want this information out there. And they tend to promote very sanitized information for mass consumption, information that does not rock the boat, information that is innocuous. But we need a revolution. We need to shift the vibrational frequency of the planet. So although I will not stop and change the content of my channel, I do rely upon you to forward the video to family and friends, to get the message out there, to proselytize about the Kemetic spiritual way of life. It is very important that this legacy continues. In fact, this spiritual way of life has been co-opted by those in academia. It has been co-opted by those in the conspiracy theory arena. It's been co-opted by those in the New Age movement. And part of the taking over of the information is to rewrite the history so that you will never know that the ancient Kemetic people were people of color. And we see this time and time again coming out of Hollywood. And they will get to a point where they will look foolish when the truth does come out, because many great Egyptologists, archaeologists, historians are now speaking the truth. They're not afraid anymore of getting ostracized. They're not afraid anymore of their colleagues' ridicule. So join the fight, join the revolution, and share this video. And let's get this party started, right? Okay, I hope you're in good spirits, because I want to talk to you about a very, very serious subject. And my wives play tricks on me, because they'll spike my drink every now and then because they love to see my reaction when I take a sip. So it's always a surprise what they're putting in the cup, you know. They're little devils. But anyway, when we think about genetic engineering or genetic manipulation, we tend to think on the cellular level, all right? But it goes much deeper than that. And it's I would say more sinister than that, what we're up against now. You see, it is a widely accepted notion that something's wrong with the planet. We understand that things are not right. Things are not the way they should be. And I think COVID-19 has exposed that. It has given us an insight into the problems with our government, the problems with our officials in office. Now, I did in my last video a very detailed analysis of the ruling elite's plan, the cabal, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call them. And in that, I broke down, I think it was the 4 different facets of how they initiate their plan. But the one thing I don't want to get into is where other channels get into fear-based programming, where it's all about making you afraid, exposing the plan, but never about the solution. You see, you have your David Ikes out there and the number of other individuals who are part of that inner circle of conspiracy theory exposing the plan, but none of them have a real solution that works. You see, their solution is just to move the pieces around on the chessboard. In other words, they say, well, vote for someone else, put someone else in office, or put another party in office. And that will be a solution to our problems, to remove those in positions of power in our government and place in there people who are very altruistic, who are very loving and caring, and have them speak for the people. But what I'm trying to convey to you and get to you to understand that is just window dressing. Because if those people are not spiritually evolved, then they will just repeat what their predecessors have done. They will just emulate the same plan, initiate it, and you'll find yourself in the same situation as before. It's like every 4 years we get a new politician claiming to be about change and how this person is for the people. Well, how many times are we going to fall for that rhetoric? It is time to put a stop to this. And I have told you time and time again that there is a shadow government. And this shadow government operates autonomously, and behind the scenes. So that no matter who the figurehead is, it could be Trump, it could be Biden, it could be Bernie, it doesn't matter. But you see, the real architects are in the background. You can't see them. It's actually kind of ingenious because it doesn't matter really who you vote for. The wheels, the machine still operates because, again, they're in the shadows. And what this does is this ensures that the plan is implemented, that the plan, no matter if the leader is taken out or the Senate, the Congress, if they were to be taken out, it would still be business as usual because they are operating in the shadows. And their plan is conceived so that they have a vision of where they want to take the world in 30, 40, 100 years. And that nothing is going to stop them. No matter who you vote for, it makes no difference. And that is what the American people don't seem to understand. Because they give you the illusion of power, the illusion of freedom. But it's just that, it's Maya, it's an illusion. Because until you deal with this hidden hand, this wizard behind the curtain, you will never, never make any progress. Now, you could try and elect different officials to put them in there. But this ruling elite, this shadow government, if these individuals don't play ball, they will either get assassinated, there will be false charges put against them, and they will be removed from office. I want you to understand that the country that you live in and the freedoms that you enjoy come at a dear price. Because what you don't see, it's like going to McDonald's and eating your Big Mac, but you don't go to a slaughterhouse and you don't see how the meat is cut and the cow is slaughtered. You don't want to see that. And this is the same thing. You see, for us to enjoy the freedoms that we have, our military must go overseas to third world countries, invade them, and remove the democratically elected official and put in place a puppet figurehead who will do as this country says, as this country's power structure dictates. This is the grand chess game, you see. This is how we go under the guise of spreading democracy across the globe. What it is tyranny. It's fascism. It's colonizing and destroying. And there's many ways they go about this. They bribe the leaders. If the leaders don't take the bribe, then they arrange an assassination attempt. If they can't get to this person through assassination, they will support an independent party within that country to overthrow the democratically elected official. So they have various different means and measures to do this because they have a grand plan in mind of how they are going to control the planet and the direction they're going to take the planet. And I don't think that we understand the full scope of this. Because when I look at here in this Western society, and I look at men in particular, I'm ashamed. It saddens me when I look at these young men. And the reason why I'm calling the men out is because you're supposed to be the warriors. You are supposed to be the ones that are leading the revolution. But you are, now I'm going to say some things that people might not like, but we got to get real here. You are the biggest bunch of pussies I've ever seen. It's amazing. It's just so amazing. You know, when I talk to individuals and they talk about revolution, their idea of a revolution is, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. I'm going to create a meme. Are you freaking kidding me? Is this your idea of a revolution? Is this your idea of bringing change? Is this your idea of resurrecting Osiris? Are you out of your mind? And then inevitably what I have to point to is a failure on the part of the women who have raised these pussies. The women have failed monumentally to do their job. You have failed. Let me explain something to you. As a man, as an alpha man, as a leader, shouldn't use that term alpha, but whatever, we'll just, to facilitate the conversation, we'll use that. When you understand the dire consequences of not winning this war, then there is no choice but to stand up and be a leader. No matter where you go on this planet, no matter what you do, you should be organizing, plotting, planning to conquer the planet. That should be your prime directive. Wherever you go, you should be forming crowds and speaking about the fact that, hey, this is what needs to be done. Did you know the ruling elite is planning this? This is what we have to do when we come together as a collective. This is what we should have done. But now we're cut off from doing that because they have enacted their sinister plan of COVID-19, which prevents large gatherings now. But you saw it coming. You knew they were going to do this. Let me explain something to you. When I'm outside and I'm talking to people, I'm thinking about business. I'm thinking about, hey, you know what? How can I put together a business that can give an opportunity to as many people as possible to be employed? I'm very passionate about that. I talk about it. I network with other people who are about business. And the same goes for the spiritual aspect, my spirituality. I'm constantly proselytizing about it, talking about Osiris, talking about Aset, organizing. But you men out there are so timid and so weak, it's pathetic. It is pathetic. And it's not all your fault, it's the fault of how you were raised, how the society has been constructed to produce weak men. So let's break this down. Let's get a clear understanding of the ruling elite's plan and how they implement it. They use two means and measures to do this, right? All right. The first is, I indicated this before in my previous video, the totalitarian tiptoe. You see, they know they cannot introduce something and just bombard you with this new ideology, this new way of operating. So they have to indoctrinate you into this in a slow, progressive way, so you don't see it coming. Very, very slow in increments. The next thing they do is they take a multifaceted approach so that it hits you coming from different directions, and you're bombarded with it to the point where you become desensitized to it. That's the two main primary ways they go about the conditioning, the programming. Now let's get deeper. Paula and Netzarak from UK, got a lot of good people out there. So let's break this down and go deeper. All right. They know that the way that what stands in their way from conquering the planet is strong men, strong warriors. So in order to do that, they don't take a direct approach. They don't confront men and try to break them down directly. So what they have to do is take an indirect approach, and they go through the women. And they work through a means of genetic engineering. Now, what do I mean by that? You see, women, they know that women have a vagina and that men are programmed to want to procreate with women. So women have a degree of freedom. Women can influence men in a very subtle and sophisticated way. You will read history. In history, you'll read civilizations have been built and fallen, and behind the scenes, you will see that those who were orchestrating that were women. Now, what they do is they indoctrinate women into different thought processes, such as feminism, such as the idea of, I'm an independent woman, I don't need a man. And one of the chief means to do this is through religion. And it is through the religion that they usurp the men's authority by having them acquiesce to a Jesus figure. And that becomes to them the supreme patriarchy. Now, they take it even further by dictating to women, here are the types of men that you should be with, you should be procreating with. And those are typically very meek, shy, wimpy men. And due to social pressure, mainstream media, women fall victim to these ideas, of feminism, independence. See, what they really want to do is they want to break the family down, break the nuclear family down, separate it. And they sabotage women in terms of having them select men that they know are not any good for them. This is why a lot of women out there saying, I can't find a good man. No, because you've been programmed to pre-select men that are not good for you. And this is especially true when it comes to African American women. And remember, as I said before, they use different means. They come at you from different directions. It's not one frontal assault. So here they get you to accept the idea that, a man should listen to you. That men are not intelligent. That men are evil. Men dictate. Men are oppressive. So you take those ideas and you run with them. Meanwhile, you don't understand that where they're coming from is a place of death and destruction. They don't want you to have the ability to procreate and produce strong men, strong warriors. And if you understand anything about our culture, we know that women are very receptive. Women absorb information and they act upon that. And that's the ruling elite's gateway into conquering the planet. Get the women to follow you, indoctrinate them into an ideology that's detrimental to them in the end, by having them pre-select men that are not warriors, that are not revolutionary, that are not pro-family. So they select these men who don't want a family, don't want to be in a relationship. And then they project outward and say, oh, it's all these men are bad. Men are no good. But you're caught in a karmic cycle where you're just picking the same man over and over again because you've been programmed and indoctrinated into a false ideology. And then consequently, you bear the fruit of that, which is children, young men, who are not taught about the world they live in, who are not taught and told that they are targets. Who are not raised to be warriors. You have to look at the Kemetic deity Aset, Isis. And one of the things of the story of Asar and Aset is Heru here, how she's nurturing Heru. Aset symbolizes devotion, symbolizes motherhood. Because her goal was the resurrection of Osiris. And her means to do that was to nurture her child to become the warrior who would do battle against Set and restore the throne back to Osiris. To bring Osiris back from the dead, the resurrection. But I think our women are forgotten that. Because the children that are being raised and being taught, you can see it. It's very clear how the directive is all about, yes, getting on social media. Yes, going to study. But nothing about making a change, becoming a warrior. putting an end to this oppressive system of racism and sexism. Why is that not the top of the list? Because the women have not brought that information to the children. They have not raised their young men with that thought process that you are a warrior. Instead, we come along with these stupid, idiotic titles of my king, my queen. That means nothing. That means you're a king without a castle. You're a king without a kingdom. You're a queen without a queendom. So you're useless. You're serving no purpose. You have to raise warriors so that they can build a kingdom for their queens. How do you skip over the process? I don't understand. So they take this multifaceted approach of where they indoctrinate women into this thinking, which sabotages the family unit, which gets the women to think that the problem lies outside of themselves, that it's all the men or all society, when it's really them. It's really, the problem lies within them and their selection of men and how they're living their life. And then they do other little sinister things, especially the African-American women, where they come along and they try to get you to procreate with white males. Because that's, in their way, what that does is it dilutes the race. And it further separates you from your heritage and your legacy. So you have these commercials come out where you see these black women with white men, and you're wondering, wow, these advertising agencies are embracing diversity. That's good. No, they're not. They're not embracing diversity. They're trying to separate you. They're trying to break up the race. They're trying to break up the history, the legacy of who we are. And they know the only way to do that is to go through the women to do that. And they're doing the same thing to white women. They're putting white women on a pedestal. They're telling white women that their problems come from white men, that white men are their oppressors. They're telling white men they possess toxic masculinity, that white women should hook up with soy boys who are passive, who are effeminate. Those are real men. And then they take it a step further by saying they're getting women to accept men who have the alternative lifestyle and to push that out there. Now, there's nothing wrong with being gay, transgender, lesbian, whatever you want to call it. And if that's naturally what you are, then hey, there's nothing wrong with that. But that's not what's going on here. They're trying to get women to accept that so they can teach their kids to embrace that and be that. Because if you don't have strong men to defend the nation and to be warriors, then that nation is going to be under rule. It's going to be conquest. And I want you to think about that. Women, the problem is not the men. The problem is, as in the 27th hexagram of the I-ching, nurturing. What are you feeding yourself? What is the information that you're taking in and then you're teaching the children? The one thing that Set did 24/7 was to train Heru for war, to prepare Heru for battle. That's all she thought about. Read the Kemetic story of Asar and Aset. She nurtured him. She protected him. She told him about his inheritance, his legacy, that he was the rightful ruler of Kemet. But Set had stolen the throne. Set had killed his father. And everything she did from that point on was to teach him about war, about philosophy, about magic. So when that fateful day would come, he would be able to combat Seth and defeat him. Today's world, women treat their daughters better than they treat the men. They treat their boys. They talked about how in the African American community that the college enrollment for women was higher than for men. Of course, that makes perfect sense. When you're trying to topple a society and to destroy masculinity, you will keep education or higher education out of the hands of men. You'll make them deaf, dumb, and stupid and blind. And that's what we're seeing today. So by selection, by natural selection, women are going out there and pre-selecting men that fit a certain criteria. Men that aren't warriors, men that are not assertive, that don't stand up, that are not looking to rock the boat. And then the society is legitimizing that by rewarding those types of men. You will see in the corporate world where men who are gay, bisexual, whatever, get ahead very quickly in the corporate world. And amongst women's group, you are very accepting of men who are gay, who are bisexual. But the minute a heterosexual male comes along who's strong, you put him down. You talk nasty about him to your girlfriends. You're disrespectful toward him. You call him the evil patriarch, the oppressor. And then when he says, follow me, you stand up and try to think that you have a bigger penis than he does. You try to compete with him. There becomes a power struggle. And then you go to schools that now have changed the curriculum to where they're teaching more about feminist doctrine. And you're okay with that. You have no problem with that. And then things like the Me Too movements come along and you're on board with that. You're on board with your own demise. And what you're doing is you're going along with a plan that eventually will turn against you. Because they're slowly setting you up for failure. And I want you to be aware of this. And I want to say this to the men. You must be about change. You must be about the revolution, not in the sense of talking about it, but in doing something about it. Every time I speak to men out there, all they do is talk. There is no action. There is no plan. Because we have been removed from our culture, which if it were properly in place, would be putting young men through initiation, training to be young warriors. But that's absent. You see, when Heru went to do battle with Set, he became Harukuhuti, the warrior god. And it is said that Harukuhuti comes to cut heads, to shed blood. You're in a battle for the planet. You're in a battle to take back the throne. And there is going to be bloodshed. There is going to have to be sacrifices made. But until we all understand the plan and what they're doing, we're going to assist in our own demise. Women are going to keep fostering these backwards ideologies, which are counterproductive. Men are going to forever keep talking about things and not do anything. And this will be the collapse of our society because we are ripe for takeover. The ruling elite is just going to walk in, stroll in actually. They're not going to march in because there's nothing to stand in their way. They have gained access through the woman and her womb by having her pre-select very wimpy, passive, pussified men. And she has raised those men, not as warriors, but as whips, not ready to do battle at all. See, you don't have to be in a laboratory to genetically engineer a man that's effeminate, a man that's afraid and timid, afraid of his own shadow. All you have to do is craft a marketing image of the ideal man and have it be socially accepted by the masses in society, and then women will accept that as the type of man they should be with. But here comes the big joke at the end of the day. When she does get involved with that man and gets into a relationship, she's not happy. She realizes she's not happy because he's not a leader. He's not an authority figure. He agrees with everything she says. And then consequently, we see what we're seeing now, how women are professing that they're not happy. Of course, you're not happy because you've been sold snake oil. So, and the truth of the matter is, I don't care what you think or how you want to think it. Women are sexually aroused by aggressive, domineering, strong men. It is biologically hardwired into you. And I don't care what you intellectually rationalize saying, no, I just want a partner. No, you don't want a partner. You want a warrior. That's what you want. Society has told you you want a partner. And then when you get that partner, you're not happy. And then you cheat. When I'm in a relationship with my mates and I say that we're going to be doing this because we need to bring back Ma'at to the world, justice. And if my mates were to say, which they wouldn't, well, I don't know about that. My response would be, did I say this was a vote? No, I said this is what we're doing. And this is how it's going to go. Because when you have been initiated into manhood, a manhood training program, and you have the word of God with you, the oracles, then the women have to come along. They have to go with you. In that sense, it's not a democracy. And women don't have to be afraid of that. Because there's nothing more beautiful than to have a man who's going to be out there fighting for you, fighting passionately for you and your rights, who can protect you and your family. That's a beautiful thing. Not this foolishness about you're a warrior too and you're going to be fighting out there. No, you're watching too many Disney cartoons. You're not a warrior. You raise warriors. You're not built for combat. I don't care how many Xena, Black Widow movies you see. That's what it's all about. Hollywood's creating these fictitious characters to make women think they can do all these incredible feats. And then when you go out in there and get your ass kicked, you're going to be wondering what happened. Let me tell you something. I've been in the military. I've been in combat. It's no game. And when you have bullets flying, explosives going off, your fight or flight kicks in real quick. And I'm telling you, I have seen women freeze up, panic in those situations. And to be honest, I can't blame you. But I don't want you to come with this notion that you're going to be Supergirl and know the right thing to do and go out there and start winning the battle. It doesn't work that way. Because your natural instincts are going to be run, get away from danger. Not these movies where suddenly you're a superwoman and you jump in front of the man and you start kicking everybody's butt to protect the man. That's not what is that? That's not real. You get your ass kicked. You're 90 pounds. You got some big dude like Arnold Schwarzenegger come along and you're going to kick his butt? Yeah, keep dreaming. There was a video that came out not too long ago that YouTube got really upset because I put it on my channel and they actually penalized my channel, where it was a young girl, 14 years old. Big guy, really big guy, huge guy. She jumped in this guy's face and she put up her dukes and she went toward that guy. That guy cocked his fist back and knocked her the hell out. She was cold turkey on the floor. And people were looking at the man. I'm like, as he's wrong. I'm like, no. Who taught her that she could disrespect some man by jumping in his face and thinking she can go toe to toe with him? Are you out of your mind? But this is what you're getting in a modern day society, to make you believe you can do all these fantastical things in movies. Women, it's okay if you want to be accepting of men who have an alternative lifestyle. It's okay to be accepting of that. And there never should be any violence perpetrated against those individuals or hatred. But I'm going to say this to you. You cannot promote that in your family. Because when you have a group of people, a race of people who are in danger of being wiped off this planet, the last thing you need is soy boys. You need warriors. And that if you fall victim to what is being taught by the ruling elite, and what they're trying to push on you as the ideal man, you're going to find yourself in dire straits. If you think you're unhappy now, if you think there are no good men out there now, stay the course and find out what's in store for you. As I said before, it's a multifaceted approach. So they hit you from every direction. One minute they talk about accepting of the soy boys as the ideal man. The next minute they say, oh, it's okay, date white men. White men are the alternative for you. Continue that and see what happens. They don't have your best interest at heart. And if you want to think that you can be a strong, independent woman, just because they have given you in this society some privileges to make you seem to be a little bit more prosperous than your male counterparts, they're doing it for a reason. They're raising you up for a big fall. It's a big setup. We have to produce strong warriors, not talk show hosts, not internet personalities, not gentlemen. Studies show that women are not attracted to gentlemen. Let's be real, ladies. Come on, let's be real. They've already done studies to show that women have fetishes. They fantasize about being dominated by men. And there's a reason why that turns you on. Because it's been programmed into you that you must procreate with the dominant man for the protection of you and your family. And if you try to circumvent that and listen to mainstream media about what is socially acceptable in a man and allow them to pick the man for you, then it will destroy everything our ancestors tried to build for us. So I just wanted to put that out there for you to think about that. And my intent, of course, is not to insult anybody, whether it be their lifestyle or just them personally. I'm not trying to do that, but I'm just really just trying to paint a picture of the facts for you in terms of where we're going, where we're headed if we stay on this same course. We are not producing strong men. We're not even close. So anyway, I want to thank you for tuning in today. This is Kasak Ma'at Keperu, son of Ma'at and Tudi. Ma'at is the beautiful goddess Heteru. Until my next video, Amun Ra.